सेट ऑफ एमसीक्यूज ऑन रिव्यू एंड रिपोर्टिंग। ठीक है, लेट्स डू दीज। It is 1st of July 2005. Viola Company is a manufacturer of shoes. You are an audit manager in Cello and Company and you are performing an overall review of the financial statements for the year ended 31 March 2005. Prior to the issue of audit report, profits before tax for the year was 131.4. ठीक है। Analytical procedures. As a part of your overall review, you have performed analytical procedures over the draft financial statements and have noted that the trade receivables collection period is lower than it was during the interim audit performed in Jan. So interim audit is साल के बीच में when you conduct an audit, and year end audit of course is at the end of the year. ठीक है। The credit controller of Viola Company left the company in Feb 2005, and the directors have said that as a result, the company is experiencing difficulties in debt collection. यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है? As a part of your overall review, when you perform the procedure, collection period is lower than it was during the interim audit. तो अगर collect this direct credit controller has left and the directors are saying that the company is experiencing difficulties in debt collection, don't you think कि यार ये statements थोड़े से opposing views है? If the credit controller has left, then collection period should go up, ना? है ना? I think it should go up. During the year, Viola Company revalued its head office, and as a part of your review, you are considering the detail which is disclosed in the property, plant, and equipment note in the draft financials. Your review also included an assessment of uncorrected misstatements. These have been recorded by the audit team as follows: interest payable omitted in error, additional allowance for receivables required, errors in sales invoice processing resulting in understatement of sales, write off in respect of faulty goods. What are faulty goods? The adjustment for faulty goods listed as an uncorrected misstatement above relates to an entire batch of shoes which was produced on 12th of March 2005. The audit work concluded that cost of the inventory exceeded its NRV by 2.9 million. The directors dispute the audit team's figures and believe that the realizable value of inventory will exceed its cost. बहुत कुछ कुछ हो रहा है यहाँ पे, ठीक है। Which of the following would form a part of auditor's overall review of financial statements? Establishing whether preconditions for an audit are met, assessing whether information and explanations obtained during the audit are adequately reflected, performing a detailed review of audit working papers to ensure that work has been properly performed, reviewing the adequacy of the disclosure of accounting policies. Which of the following would form a part of auditor's overall review of the financial statements? ठीक है। पे अटेंशन टू द वर्ड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स। आपको आपका आंसर उसके हिसाब से यू विल हैव टू फ्रेम। ठीक है। रिव्यूइंग द एडिक्वेसी ऑफ डिस्क्लोजर्स, कहाँ पे है डिस्क्लोजर? डिस्क्लोजर हैपेंस इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, सो स्टेटमेंट 4 इज राइट। जो ऑप्शन में स्टेटमेंट 4 है, दोज आर योर होपफुल ऑप्शंस, 3 एंड 4, 2 एंड 4। एस्टैब्लिशिंग वेदर प्री कंडीशंस ऑफ एन ऑडिट आर प्रेजेंट, ये ओवरऑल रिव्यू के टाइम नहीं है, ऑडिट के स्टार्टिंग में चेक करना चाहिए, ये गलत है। एंड दिस इज नॉट अ पार्ट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट रिव्यू। इफ दिस इज द केस, देन 1 एंड 2 इज आउट, 1 एंड 3 इज आउट। ठीक है। असेसिंग वेदर इंफॉर्मेशन and explanations obtained during the audit are adequately reflected. Where is it reflected? In the financial statements. ठीक है। So if the what the auditor should check is, say for example, he has gathered knowledge about the significant accounting policies with respect to revenue. ठीक है। So what he will try to do is he will see कि whether the knowledge that he has obtained regarding significant accounting policies is it also disclosed in the financial statements, वो चेक करेंगे। So ये भी करेक्ट है। उस in the significant accounting policies part, have they mentioned have they given adequate disclosure and explanation about the accounting policy chosen? Accounting policy उसको कैसे पता चला? While he was discussing with the client, while he was performing the audit, he got that information. ठीक है। So this is 2 and 4, correct? Which of the following is a valid explanation for the inconsistency between the results of analytical procedures on trade receivables and director's statement regarding debt collection problem? Didn't I say कि these are quite opposing views? On one hand, you are observing that trade receivables collection period has gone down. Client बोल रहा है कि यार the credit controller left, so we are facing difficulties. If you are facing difficulties, your collection period should have gone up, not come down. Which of the following is a valid explanation for the inconsistency between results of analytical procedures and director's statement? A change in sales mix towards high value product. पीएम के क्लास में तो बैठे नहीं है हम. इंक्रीज इन प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ कैश सेल्स, इंक्रीज इन रेट ऑफ सेल्स टैक्स. नो, ये क्या फालतू रीजन है. सेल्स ग्रोथ ऑफ 1% per month over the year. See, if the credit controller left, then ideally your credit collection period, debtor collection period should have gone up. But वो कम हो गया. So when under what circumstance can it go down? If debtors are less, then debtor collection period balance will also keep on going down. Debtors कम कब होंगे? When the proportion of cash sales is more. Option 2. ठीक है. Now, which of the following details should be disclosed in respect of the revaluation of head office if the auditor is to conclude that the disclosures are adequate? Effective date of revaluation, name of valuer. Name of valuer सुकांत शर्मा अगर ऐसा हमने बोल भी दिया तो क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? आई डोंट थिंक उससे कोई खास फर्क पड़ेगा, है ना. ये तो गलत है. So all the statements or all the options which contain statement 2 are out. This is out. This is out. This is out. एग्जाम में this can come in very handy. फट से ऑप्शन 2 उठा लो. हियर वील डिस्कस कि व्हाई द अदर्स आर ट्रू. अमाउंट ऑफ रिवैल्यूएशन इंक्रीज, यस. वो तो बताना पड़ेगा ना कितने से रिवैल्यूएशन हुआ. कैरिंग अमाउंट अंडर द कॉस्ट मॉडल मतलब बिफोर रिवैल्यूएशन का अमाउंट, आफ्टर रिवैल्यूएशन का अमाउंट, प्लस द डेट ऑन विच यू हैव कंडक्टेड द रिवैल्यूएशन, वो डेट मेंशन करेंगे. ऑप्शन 2, 1, 3 एंड 4. बिकॉज वैल्यूएशन इज विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू अ सर्टन डेट, करेक्ट. अब मैंने वैल्यूएशन किया, से फॉर एग्जांपल वैल्यूएशन ऑन 31st, माय फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स आर डेटेड 31st of March. तो इट्स इजंट इट एडवाइजेबल दैट माय रीवैल्यूएशन आल्सो हैज टू बी डन अराउंड 31st of March. 2 जुलाई का रीवैल्यूएशन और वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट का कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है फॉर द 31st of March वाला फाइनेंशियल्स, करेक्ट. Now, which of the following uncorrected misstatements 1, 2, and 3 by the audit team must be adjusted for if the auditor is to issue an unmodified opinion? Which means basically 1, 2, and 3 में से सबसे बड़ा problem कौन है? Now tell me, profit before tax was 131.4 and last year it was 120.9. When I say it is 131.4 एंड लास्ट ईयर इट वॉज 120.9, ये क्यों दिया है मुझे? ऐसे ही टाइम पास के लिए. दे हैव गिवन इट टू यू फॉर सेटिंग द मटीरियलिटी लेवल, है ना. पीबीटी कितना है आपका? पीबीटी है मेरा 131.4 मिलियन. ठीक है. अब टेल मी, व्हेन पीबीटी इज द डिसाइडिंग फैक्टर, हाउ डू यू सेट द मटीरियलिटी थ्रेशोल्ड?
One, one, one to no 5 to 10% of profit.
5 to 10%. 5% एंड 10% दोनों देखते हैं कितना आता है. पक्का आई एम गोइंग विथ योर नंबर. गलती होगा तो फिर करण को पकड़ना अभी.
नहीं, याद है, ये पढ़ा था कुछ दिन पहले ही दोबारा से.
65,70,000, 1,31,40,000. ठीक है. अब ये क्या है? इंटरेस्ट पेएबल ओमिटेड इन एरर 19,42,000, 91,98,000, 85,41. Out of these errors, which one would lead to misstatements, which statements, if not corrected, would force the auditor to modify his opinion.
And 3,
Why 2 and 3?
because it lies between the materiality level of 65 or 131.
नहीं, इट लाइज बिटवीन क्या होगा उससे? सी दे आर इंडिविजुअली ऑल्सो मटीरियल. 19,42,000 इज वे लोअर ना. अब ये देखो, even if I set my materiality at 65,70,000, which is the lower end of the spectrum, ये 91, 98, 85, 41 जो है, these are above the materiality threshold, तो ये तो definitely it will impact. 1942 might not impact. Correct? 1942 might not, नहीं, will not impact. Why? Because materiality level है 65 लाख, ये है 19 लाख, तो ये उससे कम हो गया आपका. ठीक है. तो 2 and 3, right? All adjustments required by the auditors have been made to the financial statements, with the exception of adjustment 4 relating to faulty goods. Which of the following correctly describes the effect of this matter on the audit report? Write off in respect of faulty goods. मतलब these goods are of no use to you, या उनका यूटिलिटी कम हो गया है. तो what you will be doing is you will have to record an entry P&L account debit या goods write off account debit to आपका इन्वेंट्री आपको राइट ऑफ करना है. ठीक है. तो 2900 material or not? First of all, it is 29 lakh is below the materiality threshold of 6570. ठीक है. Then unmodified uh, opinion with no further disclosure. ठीक है. Had it been above the materiality threshold, naturally that would have created a difference. चलो, फिर you will have to consider कि यार अगर if the client refuses to make an adjustment, then I will have to issue a qualified opinion in that case. चलो, अब ये देखो.
तो मटीरियलिटी के उसमें होता तो हम मॉडिफाइड भी करते और हम लिखते भी ना फर्दर डिस्क्लोजर.
वो तो हम सी फर्दर डिस्क्लोजर मतलब, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वेन एवर यू मॉडिफाई एन ओपिनियन, आप क्वालिफाई करते हो, एडवर्स करते हो, यू राइट दैट, एंड उसके नीचे यू राइट अ पैराग्राफ कॉल्ड बेसिस फॉर क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन या बेसिस फॉर एडवर्स ओपिनियन पैराग्राफ. दैट इज द डिस्क्लोजर दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. ठीक है. The following scenario relates to the questions 146 to 150. It is 1st of July. You are an audit manager in Spring and Company, responsible for the audit of Autumn Company. You are reviewing the audit file of Autumn Company for the year ended 31 March, which is nearing completion. You have noted several issues during your review. Several working papers which were prepared by Audit Junior have not been signed as reviewed by the Audit Senior, responsible for supervising the Audit Junior. You are aware that a review has been performed, but this is not documented on the audit file. One audit working paper states that a sample of 30 purchase invoices should be tested, but the results of the test show that only 15 invoices were tested. अरे ये आलसी आदमी है. Several other document that sample sizes were reduced. Several other areas document that sample sizes were reduced to save time. In the subsequent events review section of the file, the audit senior has documented that management have confirmed there are no subsequent events that affect the financial statements and that no further work is considered necessary as a result. Which of the following are true in respect to reduction of sample sizes? 1, 2, 3 कहाँ पे sample size कम हुआ?
सेकंड में
ओके.
था उससे कम ही हुआ.
यहाँ पे रिव्यू नहीं हुआ, यहाँ पे सैंपल साइज कम हुआ. यहाँ पे दिस रिलेट्स टू सब्सिक्वेंट इवेंट्स. We are talking about this. The audit plan has not been followed. Which of the following is true in respect of reduction in sample sizes? Audit plan must have given you कि 30 samples choose करो, आपने 15 किया, तो plan not followed. Sufficient appropriate evidence may not have been obtained. Quite likely, बहुत चांस है, बिकॉज पूरा 30 टेस्ट नहीं किया तो आपने सफिशियंट एविडेंस रिलेट्स टू क्वांटिटी ऑफ एविडेंस, दैट मीन्स इट हैज नॉट बीन ऑब्टेन्ड. मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट्स में गो अनडिटेक्टेड, यस आपने टेस्टिंग कम किया तो वो भी इशू हो जाएगा. Those sections will need to be reviewed by a manager, and the manager will form a conclusion on the balances. What is statement 4? What is it trying to say? They are saying those sections will need to be reviewed by a manager, and the manager will form a conclusion on the balances. How will the manager form a conclusion if he doesn't have enough evidence to base the conclusion on? I will tell you ना कि यार 3 मॉक लिखो तो मैं आपको बता पाऊंगा. One is not enough. I cannot just base my conclusion on that. So this is incorrect. 1, 2, and 3. ठीक है? Are you with me?
Why? Fourth, can you please explain again?
So those sections will need to be reviewed by a manager, and the manager will form a conclusion. ठीक है? One audit working paper states that a sample of 30 should be tested, but the results show that only 15 were tested. Several other areas document that sample sizes were reduced in order to save time. Now what they are saying कि those sections मतलब those which were not reviewed by the team. 30 में से 15 चेक किया, बचा हुआ 15 चेक नहीं हुआ. Those will be reviewed by a manager. ठीक है. Now या फिर द 15 दैट वर टेस्टेड, मैनेजर्स वही रिव्यू कर रहा है एंड ही इज फॉर्मिंग अ कंक्लूजन ऑन द बैलेंसेस बेस्ड ऑन दोज 15. अब आपका बेस डेटा ही आधा अधूरा है, इनएडिक्वेट है. ठीक है. इफ योर बेस डेटा इज इनएडिक्वेट, यू कैन नॉट फॉर्म एन ओपिनियन, और इवन इफ द ओपिनियन दैट यू फॉर्म इट विल बी इनकरेक्ट. राइट? Which is why
I
statement 4 is not right.
got it, sir.
Now, select whether the following statements are true or false in respect of the subsequent events review. Subsequent events review of Autumn Company. In the subsequent events review section, the audit senior has documented that management have confirmed there are no subsequent events that affect the financial statements and that no further work is considered necessary as a result. So what they did was they just relied on the statement that came from the management, nothing else. Inquiry does not provide sufficient appropriate evidence on its own. I would want to believe this is true. इंक्वायरी डज नॉट, इंक्वायरी तो एक स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट है ना. उसके बाद यू विल हैव टू परफॉर्म टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल, बहुत सारा और कुछ करना पड़ेगा आपको. दिस इज ट्रू. The auditor has demonstrated a lack of professional skepticism. Skepticism means when you don't accept the statement given to you at face value, you ask counter questions for everything. Auditor has not asked. करण ने बोल दिया मैंने होमवर्क कर लिया, मैंने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया, कॉपी मांगी ही नहीं. True. A written representation should have been obtained from the management, yes, stating that all subsequent events have been disclosed. The auditor only needs to perform procedures if they are made aware of any subsequent events. No, they have to perform procedures whether they are informed or not. That is their job. ये गलत है. In fact, whether the management has told or not, auditor has to review the subsequent events in case. Right? ठीक है. As a result of the quality issues encountered during the audit of Autumn Company, which of the following actions should now be undertaken? The offending members of staff have demonstrated a lack of competence and due care. Therefore, the firm should report to the ACCA to be disciplined for failing to comply. More frequent quality reviews need to take place. Further training should be provided. Firms' policies and procedures should be reviewed and updated if applicable. What do you think? एसीसीए को जाके कंप्लेंट करना, चुगली करना इज नॉट द सोल्यूशन. ये गलत है. तुम्हारी टीम के लोग हैं ना, दे विल से व्हाट इफ द जूनियर्स हैव made an error, you should be correcting them. Why come to us with the complaint? More frequent quality reviews may need to take place. Yes. If one is out, rule this one out. Rule this one out. Further training, yes, necessary. Firms' policies and procedures should be reviewed. Yes. Option C. ये easy था. Nothing so special. Engagement quality reviews are a part of the audit firm's quality management system to ensure that the audit is performed to a high standard. Which of the following statements is false in respect of the engagement quality review? Engagement quality review should be documented in the audit file. Engagement quality review involves a discussion of the significant judgments arising. EQR can be performed after the auditor's report has been signed. Frequent communication between EQR and audit team enhances the effectiveness of engagement quality review. Which of the following is false? Can be performed after the audit report has been signed? No, they can be performed. There are two types of reviews, right? One EQR, that is a hot review, is performed before the signing of the audit report. There is another one which can be performed after the report, but that is only for quality control purposes. So ये गलत है. यहाँ पे अगर ये वर्ड कैन के जगह मे होता ना, तो आपका आंसर अलग हो जाता. मे बी परफॉर्म मीन्स कैन हैपन, कैन नॉट हैपन, बोथ इज ओके. ठीक है. Which of the state whether the following statements are true or false? Audit engagement partner will review all working papers on the audit file before issuing an opinion. Audit engagement partner का काम नहीं है, मैनेजर का काम है. He is not going to check this. If working papers have been reviewed, there is no quality issue arising from the lack of documentation. No. Working papers have been reviewed. Then there is no quality issue arising from lack of documentation. You did not collect adequate information. सो वर्किंग पेपर्स का रिव्यू हुआ है डज नॉट मीन ना कि डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कंप्लीट है. रिव्यू का तो आउटकम कैन बी दिस ऑल्सो कि यार रिव्यू वाज नॉट डन कंप्लीटली और रिव्यू 100% रिव्यू वाज. इट कैन ऑल्सो गिव यू अ कंक्लूजन कि यार डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बराबर नहीं हुआ है, इनएडिक्वेट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है. वर्किंग पेपर्स का रिव्यू इज नॉट अ प्रूफ कि उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इट ओनली टेल्स कि आपने चेकिंग किया. चेकिंग में प्रॉब्लम तो आ ही सकता है. ऑल वर्किंग पेपर्स शुड बी साइन बाय द पर्सन हु प्रिपेयर्ड. ट्रू. All team members' work should be reviewed by someone more senior than the preparer. Naturally. Otherwise, review का क्या मतलब है? Which is why we say ना, एक दूसरे के पेपर चेक मत करो, हमें दो, हम चेक करके बताएंगे आपको. That way. ठीक है? Okay. Now, it is 1st of July 2005. You are an audit manager in Blankin and Co. responsible for the audit of Samsung Company, a large listed retailer. The audit for the year ended 31st March is nearing completion and the audit report is due to be signed next week. You have been informed that the financial controller left Samsung on 28th of February. As part of the subsequent events audit procedure, you reviewed post year end board meeting minutes and discovered that a legal case for unfair dismissal has been brought against Samsung by the finance controller. During a discussion with the human resources director of Samsung, you established that the company received notice of the proposed legal claim on 10th of February. HR director told you that Samsung Company's lawyers believe the financial controller's claim is likely to be successful, but estimate that 150 is the maximum amount of compensation which would be paid. However, the directors do not intend to make any adjustment for a provision or to include any disclosures in the financial statements relating to the issue. The draft financial statements currently show a profit of 6.5 million, revenue of 66 million for the financial year ended 31st of March 2005. Subsequent events procedure should be performed between the date of financial statements and which date? The date when the financial statements are authorized for issue. ठीक है? What does it say? The date when the financial statements are authorized for issue. But that is for IAS 10. है ना. IAS 10 events after the reporting date are events which take place after the reporting date till the financial statements are authorized for issue. ISA 560 जो है subsequent events related, वो कहाँ का कट ऑफ देता है? It tells you till the date of the audit report, right? Which is this. If you remember, मैंने वो class में have done that, एक मैंने timeline बनाया है in the notes. From the balance sheet date to the date financial statements are authorized for issue is IAS 10. Till the date the audit report is issued is ISA 560. ठीक है. Then, which of the following audit procedures should be performed to form a conclusion as to whether the financial statements require amendment in relation to the unfair dismissal claim? Which of the which of the following audit procedures should be performed to form a conclusion as to whether financial statements require amendment in respect to the unfair dismissal claim? अभी आपने क्या किया है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में? The draft financial statements, what have you done? Is
We didn't make any provision for.
we have not made any provision. ठीक है, तो आप क्या करेंगे? Inspect relevant correspondence with Samsung company's lawyers. What will this help you to understand relevant correspondence? What is the probability of you winning the case or losing the case? ठीक है. Write to the financial controller to confirm है ये फालतू है, इसका कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है. Review post year and bank ledger account and bank statements for evidence that the claim has been settled. ईयर एंड के बाद चेक द बैंक स्टेटमेंट टू सी वेदर एनी पेमेंट वॉज मेड टू दिस पर्टिकुलर पार्टी. ये भी सही है. रिक्वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट कंफर्म्स देयर व्यूज इन अ रिटन रिप्रेजेंटेशन लेटर. यस, ये भी सही है. ऑप्शन 3, 1, 3 एंड 4. ठीक है. Select the type of opinion that is appropriate and the nature of any additional communication necessary if the unfair dismissal case is not adjusted for or disclosed within the financial statements. Unmodified, qualified, adverse disclaimer. Unmodified, उसके बाद क्या? No additional communication. Qualified opinion में emphasis of matter paragraph is not the solution. Emphasis of matter is about something that has already been disclosed in the financial statements. You are only emphasizing on that. Adverse, material uncertainty related to going concern. It is not about, मतलब adverse opinion में कब आएगा? When management has not made the financial statements as per the appropriate basis. ठीक है. Adverse opinion जो है, select type of opinion that is appropriate and nature of any additional communication if the unfair dismissal case is not adjusted for or disclosed. ठीक है. अनफेयर डिसमिसल वाला जो केस है उसका कॉम्पेंसेशन है 1,50,000. व्हाट इज योर मटीरियलिटी लेवल? रेवेन्यू 66 मिलियन, प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स 6.5 मिलियन. रेवेन्यू को बेस बनाएंगे तो 0.5%.
0.5 to 1.
66 मिलियन का 0.5% होगा 3.3 मिलियन. करेक्ट. डज नॉट गेट, काफी कम है ना उससे. तो अनमोडिफाइड ओपिनियन ही रहेगा बिकॉज द आइटम इज नॉट मटीरियल एट ऑल. ठीक है. You are drafting the auditor's report for Samsung Company, and the audit engagement partner has reminded you that as Samsung Company is a listed company, the report will need to include a key audit matters section. According to ISA 701, communicating key audit matters in independent auditor's report, which of the following should be included in the key audit matters section? Matters which require significant auditor attention, matters which result in modification, no. Is items which result in modification are not a part of KAM. KAM is what? Those matters which, while performing the audit, they were so critical for the auditor कि he wants the users of the financial statements to know कि यार ये issues important थे. Key audit matters doesn't mean that there is a problem, है ना. In fact, key audit matter, emphasis of matter, both don't talk about problems. Both talk about something that has already been given in the financial statements. You are just focusing on that. Emphasis of matter focuses on something that has already been disclosed. Key audit matter is अकॉर्डिंग टू द ऑडिटर उसको काम करते टाइम ये लगा कि यार ये इश्यूज इंपॉर्टेंट है, या ये रेवेन्यू रिकॉग्निशन जो है ना ये बड़ा सिग्निफिकेंट आइटम है, ये गलत आइटम नहीं है, ये सिग्निफिकेंट आइटम है. दैट इज की ऑडिट मैटर. Matters communicated to TCWG, नहीं. All matters which were material to the financial statements, ये भी नहीं. ये की ऑडिट मैटर्स में नहीं आता ना. Items which are material to the financial statements. 1 month after financial statements were issued, the legal claim was finalized with the court awarding compensation of 5 lakh to the ex-financial controller. The directors have contacted Belkin and Company to inform them of the outcome. Now, which two of the following are appropriate actions? Discuss the matter with management and where appropriate, TCWG, obtain a written representation, consider whether the firm should resign, and inquire how management intends to address the matter in the financial statements. ठीक है, ये रिजाइन करना भगौड़ेपंती थोड़ी करनी है ना अपने को. दे केम एंड डिस्क्लोज ना, इट्स नॉट एज इफ दे वर हाइडिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम यू. दिस इज आउट. ऑब्टेन अ रिटन रिप्रेजेंटेशन. अभी क्या फायदा वो रिटन रिप्रेजेंटेशन का? Compensation awarded was 5 lakh. Discuss the matter with management and TCWG? Yes, that should be the first step. And inquire how you intend to address it in the financial statements. How will you make a disclosure? What provision will you create? वही पूछना है आपको. Nothing else. ठीक है. So 1 and 4 are your correct responses. Okay? चलो.